Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Whiskey Sour. It's your girl Dom, and this week we have such an amazing guest. There are some watching, and for those listening, Crystal, how I remember how we met, sort of. I think I feel like we were running into each other at like different places. And then I feel like we were formally introduced at an event where you had a pop up for HBO because you that great and that dope. For the come up hosted by HBO, which is really dope, by the way. Uh, Everybody, welcome for the first time. Hopefully, the first of many. Miss Krystyl Wright of Lot 11. Lot XI.
I
Not
know, right?
XI guys. XI guys. 11.
Right, right, right. Please let the people know.
First of all, hold on before you get started, y'all. Crystal's so dope. Like Crystal has an amazing apothecary line. It has candles, soap, scrubs, masks, you name it.
You
She's
name it.
recently featured on the J Hud show. Also, her brand has been featured on the pre-Grammy show. I was all up in it, and I got to see it in real time. So I was like, "Oh my god, I know her." So let's get to know you. Let's talk about you. Let's tell our viewers and listeners about you and your amazing brand, all the amazing, wonderful things that you've incorporated with your line that actually help so many of us spiritually, mentally, emotionally, especially since it's Mental Health Awareness Month. So let's start. Tell everybody what you was doing when you started the line, because we black people just be dope, by the way.
Right, just a little tad bit. So yeah, so as Dominic mentioned, I'm Crystal Wright. I am the co-founder of Lot 11, which is a community conscious wellness brand. And I would say in my regular life, I'm a clinical psychotherapist. And I feel like this year was a year I finally figured out a way to marry both Lot 11 and being a clinical psychotherapist into one. I've always tried to keep those brands very separate, but I just
Mm,
felt like there was no way for me to really separate them because I have found more of a practical tool for healing was through Lot 11 versus where I felt like with being a clinical psychotherapist, a lot of people don't go to therapy. People are like, oh, well, it's just only for problems, or, I'm not crazy, and, just different things like that. And I was just trying to like humanize the experience of really how do you actually practice healing. And I always say, like, healing isn't a doing of the work versus like just processing your emotions or your experiences in the world. So, yeah.
that's so that's so dope because I can't believe in 2023 we're still hearing, oh, therapy is this or therapy is that, or I don't need this and I don't need that, and we all need a little bit of everything, to be
At
quite
this point,
honest.
right.
Girl, at this point, COVID has broken so many people down to like the bare bones. You know what I mean? Broken people down, and so for some people that was a good thing. For some people, it was really bad and really took a toll on their mental health. And so I think that it's dope, especially in our community, because it's still so everything is still so taboo. Oh my god, I get on my nerves. Uh, where we are able to really be able to articulate our thoughts, process our mind, what we're feeling and what we're going through, and being able to kind of take control
Hmm.
of our lives, and in a way, um and seek help, and adding, and we've seen this huge boom of self care. Why does it sound like I said self? Like I'm so country. Self care, and even for men, I know they what did they call it, like black boy. There's one for men as well where they kind of have, it's like there's version of self care as well, and so I feel like that's something that has kind of come about even more after lockdown. And so now you have this line that fuses and merges both of them together.
Mhm.
So, how did the concept of Lot 11 come about?
No, it's still so funny because my mom was like, well, we grew up in West Adams. I grew up
Okay.
in two places, West Adams and Compton. So West Adams, there was a like shipping container community. My mom drives by, she sees this hot pink one. It's like a Pepto Bismol color. Anybody who knows me personally, I don't do pink. Okay, so I'm sorry, not a fan. So she sees this upcycle shipping container. She was like, Chris, what do you think about this one? Because I was thinking about starting a business and trying to like just finding a way, an outlet out of what we already did. My mom is a counselor. I'm a
Okay.
clinical psychotherapist. So we're already in the healing space. So then I was like, it's hot pink. I was like, it's okay. I was like, it'll be okay. That's just the outside. The inside, I can make it the aesthetics that I want, I'll be okay. So we're
Yeah.
in a parking lot. That's a real thing. Like it's a parking lot. So we're just standing outside before we sign the lease. She was like, "What do you want to name it?" And I was like, "Lot. That's perfect." Yep. And then I was like, "Well, it needs something else. Can't just be lot." And then it was like like literally, I don't care what nobody say. The way God like downloads in my brain, in my heart, it like happens in real time. And it was like 11, and then I'm like, well, what would the 11 stand for? And it was like, oh, your pillars of living, like your values. Because what I've learned is a lot of people don't know their values, or
Mm,
what they value. So I was like, okay, what are my 11 values? And so that's kind of how I formulated lot 11 around my values, which is social justice, community, spirituality, education. Like, so each of those pillars is really how we kind of show up in the world with our products. And so it's like godsend, honestly. It was like, oh yeah, it makes sense to
that's
me.
super. That's like super, super dope, right? Because, like, I don't think, I think when we talk about values and things like that, we always talk about it showing up in somebody else and how they would
Mhm.
impact our life, but we never actually kind of turn it to say, okay, but actually, what is it that you stand for? Like, what do you stand, like, who are you? You
Yeah.
know, like, I think about that often because clearly, like a lot of my conversations nowadays are about, like relationships because we're grown, older and looking for partners, or or whatever. And so that's the main thing. Well, what do you want in a partner? And so it's like, well, okay, we never really, I never I got a new question.
That's
I
good.
got a new question. I'm like, well, okay, who are you? Tell me, what do you believe in? And then we can segue into,
Okay.
okay, look at you. Because I never thought about that. And even kind of when it comes to myself, like I know, like you said, spirituality, education, hard work. I got
Like
three.
just like integrity, like social justice.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about all, not all, when you think about many of the businesses and corporations that we currently operate, everyone says like, oh, it's what word do people use? Uh, I can't even think of the word, but they kind of just, they're about money. I don't know, the word has literally left my brain right now. And I'm like, well, you can still be about making your money, but you can still care about the world. You can still
Yeah.
be about your money, and you can still care about the environment. So obviously, being a clinical psychotherapist, a lot of that comes from like social enterprise. So as we were developing the brand, is like, you know how can you still be about your money, but at the same time still give back and try to push humanity forward in a more meaningful way? And so that was just really important to me. I guess even as you mentioned, like dating, you want to make sure that the person, at least for myself, that their priority is social justice. I can't move around, the world not caring about the conditions of other people, like, so.
Baby, I was dating a guy one time, and he worked kind of like in real estate development architecture. And so he was another. And
Okay.
yeah, and it will make sense to this follow up. And he was kind of like, excited because they had bought all these like properties, but we're pretty much gonna demolish them. And it was like in East LA. And they he was like, oh, we're gonna make these, type of homes and blah 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 blah, and pretty much talking about gentrification. And I was like, but what happens to the people in that area? You have an organization that's based in Compton. He did and he does. And I'm like, you're coming through, you're everybody's worst nightmare. No matter how you try to look at it or think people are going to price this property at a certain amount where it's like amount where everybody can afford to live there, that's not what is going to happen. And so those are I that stuck with me for a while, and I was like,
You do it.
I don't know if I could do it, because that's so weird to me. And yes, granted, like a lot of people, we have to think about like the poverty line here in LA because it is so expensive. So yes, if somebody owned their home, did you really give them what the value of that home was, where they could go and start over somewhere else? I doubt it. So
Mhm.
those are things that we think about. And I told him, I'm like, you know you're always in Compton doing these different things, for the inner city youth that you feel like are at risk, but that are black people, but it also affects brown people too. So, mm,
There's that. So yeah, so as I think, as people, at least for myself, as I develop, whether I develop more companies, I think like social justice has to be part of like my foundation
yeah,
always. It makes me feel good, and not just like, oh yeah, 15% of this sells, but I actively am involved in these communities that have helped me thrive, and I'm definitely invested into the sustainability of seeing our people, and not just our people, black folks, but seeing humanity just push forward in a different way. Getting them to think more critically about how they're making decisions, and that's the word capitalistic. You
yeah.
know,
I figured that's what it was. I was like, she's talking about capitalism.
yeah, I was like,
I
everybody,
was like, I don't know, but I feel like I
yeah,
was like, no, she's talking about capitalism. So leave
yeah,
me.
everybody's scared of that. We're like, oh my god, it's capitalist. I'm just like, that's a real thing, and it's not bad. It's about bad people having a whole lot of money making bad decisions.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
so I pray for the day that there are good people, which there are lots of them, making good decisions for the betterment of people around the world. So that's like a big thing, humanitarian, but doing it my way, I guess.
that's that's so amazing and dope. And you said the Compton candle is the
Hmm.
one where it's 50. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, the Compton Native Candle, 15% of the sales goes towards a community organization or nonprofit in the city of Compton. And then we also have the Inglewood Candle, and 15% of the sales are for students who attended Inglewood School for their therapy sessions. So, like private, many students who go to public schools, what is out there is like, oh yeah, they can get therapy, but they can only get therapy if they have Medi-Cal at school. And so, because then it's like, who's going to pay for those services if they're getting services at school? And so typically Medi-Cal picks up that, and they're in contract with whatever school district. But what if the child's family is a working class family,
Hmm.
and they may have like a Blue Cross? Well, you only get one sessions, every 2-3 weeks, maybe once a month, the time that it will take. And so I was like, well, private sector, there's many private sector therapists pay them to see the child. So I look forward to where public starts working privately more, because you have more flexibility and room to really do amazing things.
I think therapy is so important, in schools, therapy, yoga,
Mm.
all of that, because a lot of kids, like we think about when we were in school, hold on, I got that so long. And I was like, oh my God. you know, but I think about how things are kind of even more microscopic now because of social media. And something can happen in your classroom. You could have something as simple as like an accident. Like that happened to us. We were in the 5th grade when that happened.
Mm.
And we never made, surprisingly, and this is being completely transparent, we never made fun of this kid, never made fun of him or anything about the situation. But nowadays, I think about something that is so small and how elevated it could be for a child to have to go through that because it gets put on social media. Everybody's whispering and talking about you. So the toll that takes on you, uh,
Yeah.
when something so, and we know how bullying, like works. A lot of times, like those kids also have, issues at home. They don't have an outlet where they can talk to, and kids, especially in public schools, excuse me, they get lost kind of in the system sometimes because there's so many kids that are coming through, especially, out here. The classrooms are overcrowded, they're understaffed, the teachers are underpaid and
Yeah.
thoroughly overworked. I still can't believe the reserves has billions of dollars and y'all don't want to pay these teachers.
It's so
So I think it is. I hope someone sees what you are doing, and hopefully
hmm.
that will be implemented across the board nationwide because our kids, you know, need help. They need so much because if life is happening to us like this, and I wish as kids and teenagers, we had the space to feel what we were going through, and we had somebody there to understand what we were going through. And I hope that this just continues to, to like grow, like become something big
I
because
me too. Me too. I just feel like when you think about therapy though, like in kids, I mean, I think everybody does need I think everybody needs therapy for sure. But I just think just on the basic level it's just kindness. You know what I mean? I think we see it too as like adults, the way that we comment when somebody posts something. And it's like if you don't have anything to kind of contribute or if you don't like what the person is wearing, why would you just even say anything? And don't get me wrong, I definitely will call a friend and phone a friend. I'm like, did you see that picture? But I wouldn't comment on
I'm not
something.
typing that.
I'm not typing that. That's so rude. You know what I mean? And it's just like they posted it so they enjoyed the picture, like they like what they had on or whatever the case may be. But I wouldn't go. I don't know. I think at the basic human level is just kindness, and I think people wouldn't need so much therapy if people had just that basic principle of just being kind and being mindful about
Yeah,
just about the day to day things that people go through. But again, that's emotional intelligence that a lot of
yeah,
us don't have.
absolutely. No, that's real. And I always tell people, I'm like, people that kind of take the time to try to be mean to people. I've had it happen,
Mm.
on posts before. I see it happen with friends. I just saw something today where somebody said something crazy to hear, and I was like, I'm a hope he joking, but that's my friend. So I want to act. And I was like, no, not today. Not today.
Mhm.
Retrograde is already done enough, so don't plant the seed.
Right,
You
right.
know what I mean? So it's just I don't I like we said, it starts when people are children because kids are so impressionable and they soak up and absorb everything just like a sponge. And so if we can teach kids early on,
Maybe.
maybe the
Maybe.
world.
I'm gonna say maybe because then you have those losses that you experience in life,
Yeah,
right? Children may lose a parent or lose a friend or miss out on the opportunity, and then there's the trauma, there's the grief, and then how they cope and how they manage with that. I hope so. So I just think it has to be worked out on both ends. As we all, I don't know, I don't have any children, but like I want to be mindful about when if I do decide to have children, who I'm
yeah,
having children with. Are we on the same page? Do we have the same lifestyle? Or just kind of being more mindful about how we have relationships with people too.
right. And you know, and that's real because like so my mom, my birth mom died. I was 6 months, right?
Mhm.
And my big sister was three, and we lived with our aunt, that we call, mom. And so people would crack, certain jokes unknowingly, and I'm just like, that's just not funny to me. And people like, why aren't you laughing? I was like, well, my mom died, so mom
Mm,
jokes are weird to me. When knowing that somebody's mom or dad might be on drugs, crackhead jokes are not were never funny to me. And so I think at a very early age, I understood the concept of like feeling
mm,
very early on, right? And so even now at 36 years old, we never really talked about what happened in my house, like with my mom. And
mm.
so things affected my sister one way and things affected me, like differently. And I really didn't understand what happened until my granny got mad at my mom Lucretia, and she didn't do something or whatever. And so out of spite, she told me, she's like, that's not your mama anyway. And like to be, and so I'm like, what the hell is going on in my life right now? Like, so we never ever, even trying to have little conversations, whether it be with her, my Lucretia or my dad. No one, it's really weird, like, and then like you said, with trauma you start to compartmentalize things.
Yep.
And so I'm like, y'all be walking around like me and Janelle was like, you was intimidated, like, like God put us in you, like you the Virgin Mary or something. Nobody talk about my mom. And it's
Mm,
the weirdest, most bizarre thing to me.
mm.
And
See,
so
yes, exactly. So it's like, as I guess, as as we're all saying now, life is lifing. It's like you can teach a child and they can have the best supportive environment, but life happens as they go along. You know what I mean? And
mhm,
so there's that.
there's that. And understanding kind of like the life cycle. And I always thought that people, like parents, didn't die before kids.
Right.
Like God wouldn't do that, right? And I remember how I found that out. I was reading a Thurgood Marshall book, and Thurgood Marshall like died before his parents, and I was like, I don't think they wrote that right because that's not how that happened. And then I like mentioned it to my mom, and she was like, yeah, that can happen. And
Right.
but still, it's still, even thinking about my mom passing, like she died before her parents, and I'm now it's all clicking, like, dang, like life kind of messed up sometimes.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously, I mean, I think like when I think about Lot 11 and when I think about like, healing in real time or utilizing like practical tools for healing, it's like, what are going to be those tangible ways that you learn to navigate and to cope when difficulty comes up,
Yeah,
when bad things have happened to me in my personal life, it's like I never would question God. I just knew that I had to figure out a way to like survive the moment.
yeah,
Not a way where I stuffed it or suffocated what I was feeling, but I just knew that it wasn't healthy to do that. But I had to figure out like what is going to be like my outlet, So that's why I was like, I don't know if it's just the kids or the adults. I think it's like just working at it on both ends because you can't keep anybody in a bubble,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know. Yeah, I wish we could.
Girl, I listen. You brought up something, and I just want a quick segue. So about, what was that, a week ago, you had an amazing event. Um,
Um,
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
and the wine was really great.
Me
I'm like,
why?
yeah, I'm like, shout out to 1010 Wines. Where you show when you were on the J Hud show, the Jennifer Hudson show, and we talk about, Lot 11, mental health awareness, fusing them both together, giving back to the community, helping the community, thrive and flourish on a whole nother level. And then you had a panel where you talked about healing in real time.
Mhm.
And that has stuck with me since that happened.
Don't make me cry. I don't have no tissue near me.
I'm not, and I'm serious because we never think about healing like that, right? We think about the journey ahead and the work that it takes, but we're not thinking about right the now, the doing the work process, the motions that happen as you are trying to be, a better version of yourself, right? I'm
Hmm.
just, this is just
I'm
me.
like, you better not make me cry on here.
If you cry, it might be great for me to cry. I've been trying to cry for 2 weeks, okay?
Oh, I'm like, oh my God, I wasn't ready for this today.
No, but seriously, like we never think about it like that. And so like I went to therapy years ago when my cousin got murdered, right? Um and so that stint of me going, I learned so much in that brief moment of time because I was open. I wanted to feel better. I did not want to be angry. I knew that I had to get up and move on. Like, and not that I was moving on and to forget my cousin, because he and I were so close, like siblings. And but I wanted to live.
Yes.
And so it's a journey. It's a process. There are highs, there are lows. And even now in the midst of this retro, I am having a hard time. I'm really having a hard time, right? And I don't think we are transparent enough, especially as Black people, because we have to be so strong. And I had a girlfriend say, well, you're so strong. And blah, blah. I said, girl, I am tired of being strong all the time. I want to be a damsel in distress and I want to cry. I want to be carried. You know what I mean?
Mental. Yeah, but you know what? To your point though, one of the things that that we talked about at the event that I did is how we subscribe to things that we tell ourselves, right? Remember, I was sharing, well, I don't know if you remember, but I was
Yeah.
sharing, I've been telling myself for a long time that I'm an introvert and or that like I don't like public speaking. I don't like talking to people like in big spaces. And it's because of my adaptation to my life experiences.
Mhm.
So I think as we like change the lens on how we view mental health, even the language that we use towards
Mhm.
ourselves and to the rest of the world. So like, we have to be strong. That's a choice that we decided to subscribe to,
Yeah.
and so the event that I had in terms of the healing in real time and how I invited I didn't watch the clip, the segment. I didn't watch it when it was already out. I kind of waited to have the party because I'm definitely a perfectionist and I want things to be properly done, in order, tailored, button with a bow, and
Yeah.
much of that day was completely out of my control.
Mm.
I had no control because I knew that my products were going to be there. I dropped the products off. Days had rolled by. They were like, "Do you want to come to a show?" Yeah, definitely. I want to grab some pictures, and I was going to just post them on my website, and that was going to be it. And I was like, "Well, I'm going to be in the audience, so let me make sure that I'm cute and like I feel
Right.
comfortable." And then they call me like within the hour of me heading there just for the taping, and they're like, "Hey, change your plans." I'm like, "What's wrong? What do you need?" And they were like, "Well, we actually want you to be on the show." I'm like, "Oh, you want me to light a candle? Like, that's no problem." And she was like, "No, no, no, we actually want you on the show." I'm like, "Okay, this is going to be quick, 2 minutes. It's not a problem, Crystal. Don't worry about it." So I'm kind of a little bit freaking out at this point.
Oh.
Yeah, because I'm like, I can't practice. What am I going to say? Am I going to stumble over my words? All of the thoughts, overthinking, overgeneralizing, all of the things that I had kind of going on in my brain, and then to arrive, and then I have my own like uh dressing room with like my name on it. I'm like, oh, this is serious. Like this is serious. Like you
Like,
don't
oh,
get
this is
this
it.
is serious. Like, yo, my name is there, and I couldn't really tell anybody or talk to anybody about anything. So it was just me and God and my breath work. Like that got me
Mm.
through that moment. And so when I decided to do the healing in real time and invite people that I know, some close friends, some strangers, it's because I don't celebrate with people. I know how to celebrate alone.
Mm.
I
Mm.
travel the world alone. I go to dinner, fancy dinners, brunch, I could do that all day. It makes me happy. I feel great, and that's how I celebrate myself. But I think there is something that I've always like felt like I needed to keep doing more. But I'm like, well, I've done really big things. I've never celebrated them. So what am
Yeah.
I actually chasing after when I really had to self-reflect, you know? And so that's really how the healing in real time came about, that I invited people in. I had not seen the clip, so I don't know what it looked like. And then I got to celebrate with everyone else and then show them how you heal in real time is that you absolutely have to do the opposite of whatever your greatest fears are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so crazy because when we talk about, like dreams and all that stuff, I was talking to a girlfriend today about the concept for something potentially in the future. I was like, chasing our, I said, actually, we're not chasing our dreams. Our dreams have found us. We are just now walking in our purpose to, you know,
Yep.
make those dreams, be reality for us. Because I'm not chasing anything.
Nope.
I'm like, and once I realized that, and I said, and I typed that out to her, it was this wave of
Really.
comfort that just came over me.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's so wild how that happens. And so when you were saying the healing in real time, I'm like, this is just every day kept coming up and it kept sticking.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what we all should be doing. And so it just resonated with me. And even the young man who was talking about imposter syndrome. Now, this is not being cocky. I don't have that issue, right? And
Mhm.
but it was certain key things that he was saying. I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't wait to share this with my friend that had been battling this a little bit, and giving her like the tips. And I was just like, look at like God, because however I can show up for my friends and any advice that I can give them as well, because they always call me, I'm like, I don't be knowing nothing. Like
Mhm.
I pour a glass of wine or whiskey and then just get to talking, okay? It just sounds good, but I'm going through it just like the rest of y'all.
Right, right. Oh my gosh. No, and Stevon Lewis, he does like a lot of work on imposter syndrome. We're actually going to be, well, I can probably say this because he agreed, but we're actually going to do a healing in real time in conversation with Stevon Lewis on his journal on
Okay.
yeah, so I'm really excited about that too. And I'm going to be doing more wellness activations, more immersive wellness activations around healing in real time and really showing people like how to actually heal in real time, because I think therapy has just been kind of painted with every paintbrush possible.
Hmm.
And really, again, the healing is in the doing. So you can have your therapy session, but it's like, how are you implementing that in your lifestyle?
Right.
You
Because I
know,
was going to follow up and say, oh my, give a person an example of healing in real time. And you said it.
yeah, it's just like how do you do that? So for myself, again, the fear that I had about sharing space with other people, celebrating with other people, not it just being my birthday. Even when it's my birthday, I travel alone too. You know, it's just like I'm out of here. And it's because of the expectation that I sometimes place on other people, and I don't want to be like let down. So
Ah,
then this is just kind of the way that I've adapted to certain circumstances or situations. It doesn't come from nowhere. It's just been how I've been moving about life, being the oldest sibling, just different things like that. And so I had to release that because I had no idea what the clip looked like. Invite all these people who barely talk to. Some of them I talk to every day. Some of them I just met. It was different people, different relationships, and share that space with them. And then also share personal parts about myself so people can really understand what is lot 11. And I've been finally, through my own battles with my own like mental health, I've been able to finally like let go of that perfectionism, that I could blend my creativity and like my practice into one, and I don't have to keep like keeping them separate.
yeah. It's all a process, and it's about speaking to yourself, like you said, changing that mindset and knowing that you can do it, because you really can do anything. We have the capacity to do it all. And one of the things that kind of helps me push through some days where I'm like overwhelmed in a very underwhelming way, if that makes sense, is like, you know I always tell people when it's time for me to go, I want to be able to say to God, I used everything that you gave me. Like
Mhm.
everything that was in me. Like I tried it,
Mhm.
whether I liked it or not, and it didn't work for me, but I
Mhm.
tried. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
used it and did something, with the gifts that you have given me. And
that's
so
it.
that's it. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And
That's
so,
it.
and even in those days where, it's still like, hey, I'm freaking out. God already got this handle, and then I will lay down.
Yeah, and
you
and I think that's
know,
the power of surrendering, so and that's kind of, where I kind of came to when I did the healing in real time. Is like I had to surrender, and it was much bigger than me. Like
yeah.
so many people that I invited like came up to me after like, Krystyl, oh my God, Krystyl, oh my God. And I'm just like, really? And I never really look for validation necessarily, but sometimes you do want to know that you're on the right track. And sometimes I'm scared about some of the ideas and the creativity that I have come out. Like, I don't think that's gonna land well. Or that's not hot. Like, and I was like, well, what if nobody comes tonight and all these people RSVP, and it's just gonna be me and like me watching the film. And I was absolutely okay with that.
Mm. I'm like, look, I was coming. I might have been a day early. I
That was funny. You're not
was
gonna
like,
tell nobody.
but
A whole day early.
a
Yeah,
whole day early. I was like,
yeah. I
so
was like,
I was planning my day out, and then I realized, girl, but that's just how exhausted my mind has been, and just, and I just been trying to find, like a way to like release, and like what I was feeling and what I was going through. And I'm a person that's firm, uh when it comes to like grounding and things like that. And normally when that happens, you know, I normally go to the beach, and I'll get my feet all in the sand, and I'll put my
mhm.
feet in the water. If it's warm, I'm gonna get fully in, submerge myself in the water, because it's like a baptism a little bit, because
Yeah,
I love the water so much. I'm an Aquarius, right? And so
me too. I did not know that.
I could. So you want to know what's so weird is when you were
But
speaking earlier, I was like, man, there's air somewhere in her chart, but I'm not sure.
yeah.
I wasn't. But I could feel the air in your chart.
Aw.
Yeah, I could feel that, and it was that's so funny because I was like, nah, I don't think she an Aquarius, but I'm like, there's air there. Okay, well, hello. But that's me. And so this past weekend, I went to like my friend's house or whatever, and got in the pool because the beach was cold, and so that helped a little bit. But I was just like, man, I can't wait till it's warm. I cannot wait until
Yeah,
like to feel purified. It's just something different about it, like being aligned, like one with earth, and you
for
know,
sure. And I mean, and honestly, I think people can heal through their five senses, right? So whether that's like watching something, tasting something, hearing something, feeling something, like you can heal through your five senses. And so for you, like being water, that's excellent. And like very like simple things. And therapy, like again, is in the doing. Those are, we call it behavioral activation. So getting in sand, grounding yourself, the touch, feeling the sand between your toes, like all of those things. So yeah,
yeah, man, I'm just so blessed and happy that we crossed paths.
me too.
Like every once in a while, you will send me a message out of nowhere, and
Random.
yeah, random, and it will let me know that I'm, like on the right path. I'm like, where the hell did that come from? And it's like crazy, like we said, how God uses people
Oof,
to connect with you and to speak to you.
for
You know,
sure.
you can smell. I can smell something that, like a scent that I haven't smelled in a long time, and I'm like, what is that? But it's nobody around. I'm like, so it's crazy how he'll, do that to connect with you. And so, and now knowing that you're an Aquarius, I'll be sending you all.
Yes, get on my way because I'm still exploring that part of my life, like numbers and astrology. I always tell people like I'm all Jesus in a little hood, so it's all good.
A little voodoo, a little hoodoo.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit, and that's cool. Like I tell people, I'm like, yeah, I love the Lord. He heard my cry, but I also be reading my.
I just want the information. I just
I'm
want
gonna
to
read.
read
I'm
it.
gonna read my
I just want to read it
horoscope.
a little bit.
So yeah, absolutely. And I, I don't know, like it's crazy how you could feel, meet somebody and just feel so like connected to them. Like
Yeah.
everything that you were saying, and even at the event, I just felt very, very connected and felt connected to the people there. Also, because everybody had really, really great energy. Everybody was super engaged. Your homegirl, your best friend, that was the host. I was like, girl, you bomb. Like, I like you.
She's so amazing. She's
it,
been
it
my
was,
friend since seventh grade.
I do I know anybody? Yeah, I'm still friends with some friends from middle school. But are they my best friend? Absolutely not.
But the interesting thing is like friends since seventh grade, but then like we went on to high school and we kind of like lost touch, but we just kind of stayed in touch through college. And then obviously now she's a mom, she's an entrepreneur. And so
Okay.
then just now kind of being back into our relationship and it's just ever so growing,
Hmm.
and like you said, like I mean, I guess when you look at God's brilliance, at least for myself, it's just like it's all in alignment. I
Yeah,
have no I have no complaints. And how we cross paths as well
yeah,
is no, and I'm excited about everything that you're doing as well. Like, I'm
yeah.
like, thank you, Jesus.
It's, for me is, you know, my thing is getting out of my way and get it out of my head, and knowing and receiving, and that I deserve the blessings that one I've already been given, because I'm a firm believer. I'm like, hey, if I don't bask in this, if I don't appreciate this, I ain't trying to see what's on the other side if he take it away. You know what I mean?
Right,
But it's
right.
just being present in that. And every month I complain about paying that rent, but it's just like, hey, that check is gonna clear. I'm blessed to be able to take care of myself, because I know that there's somebody else that's not in the same situation that can do that, right? So it's like really tapping into myself to really, really grow and elevate, and not also while doing that, not being so hard on myself.
No, for sure.
I'm like, I know that sounds crazy, but the two can coexist.
No.
I don't wanna, and that's the space that I'm like, I'm being too hard on myself. It's taking a mental toll on me, and I just need to release it. And
Yeah.
I know that God already got it.
Yeah, and even break it down a little bit too, like the healing in real time. So at least for myself, when I have a negative thought about myself, I course correct. And when I say course correct, meaning that I get into my journal, I write the terrible thing that I said to myself about myself in the journal, and then I have to course correct and do what we call like challenge the distortion. So
Mm,
why did I say I couldn't do it?
yeah, yeah,
And then I have to write the course correct is that I write I can do it. I just need to properly like plan and make those like small action item steps. Maybe just draft the email. I don't have to send it because I avoided a email from Oprah Daily before
mm,
for months because I just didn't feel like I was prepared.
wow,
So the healing in real time is also me as a creative coming into like who I know I want to be, and
yeah,
really being honest about how I'm really getting in my own way, but also challenge some of the thoughts that I have about myself as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know.
And it's the weirdest thing. So like, in I I remember in middle school, our music teacher, she used to have this like mantra that we would say, but one of the key things was like, can't is not a part of my vocabulary. And so that was something recently that I started to adapt into my life. And so the other day I said, oh, I can't. I said, we're going to use a different word right now. That doesn't work for me. So I get what you're saying, but it's just like making it,
Like
habit.
yeah, habit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I'm just really I am trying and I am doing. That's what we're gonna say. Cause try sometimes can be a little shaky.
Yeah, it's like either you do it or you not.
Yeah. And so even when it comes to like I started working out recently because I knew one, it would help my energy,
She froze. Did I freeze? Are you
oh,
there?
oh, we here. um, but so it's just it's mind over matter, and being able to really just when I feel like something is happening, like you said, being able to shift. How we gonna course correct that? And I will say I did one thing recently that really helped me, and it fed my inner child.
What?
I went to the Barbie immersive experience.
Oh,
If y'all don't know, baby, I'm a Barbie fiend. Like I
clearly.
Barbie, I got another set up here when Barbie and Ken finally got married. So Barbie's was my life. Barbie's is my life. I've applied for a job at Mattel 20,000 times and they have told me no right away. But somebody said something to me when we walked in. I was like, yo, no, I've been waiting for this my entire life. And
Oh,
I was just so happy. I could have cried, but I didn't. Maybe, so I don't know. Like that's where I'm at.
that's
Like,
the behavioral activation. It's like getting back to those things that make like that bring you joy, being in commune with that, like spending time in that, pausing in that, going back to that, it's not just like, I think we have a very hustle culture, you know what I mean, but like where's the pause, where's the ease,
yeah.
and so I think you're, yeah, you doing it, so
Hey,
amen.
I'm doing it and you doing it too.
Thank you.
So, what can we be on the lookout for? You told us about your immersive experience healing in real time that will be coming. It'll be an activation that will happen. How often? Do you know
So
yet?
I
Or
have it. I At first I was like, oh, let me plan it out. Q1, Q2, Q3, like four. Let me do it all. No, no, no. I'm just gonna do it as it like gets to my heart. So I
okay,
have two right now that are coming up.
okay.
So there's a few. There's gonna be two happening here in the summer, and I'll do one in the fall before I head out to Thailand, and I'll be doing the activation there. So.
Ooh,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah, so those are so and I think what it's looking like. So the first one, actually, I just realized something. The first one that I'm having healing in real time is going to be happening May 18th. Um,
okay.
May 18th. So healing in real time is called Wicks and Wine. This will be in Highland Park at Be Nice, Have Fun. And so there's like 12 seats, very like small group of folks. And so we'll be doing that there. So that's the first one that I have coming up. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna text you that so I can make sure I have it correct in
Okay.
the description of the show. And then as far as Lot 11, do you have new scents rolling now?
Yeah.
What,
So
what,
the new scent right now that I haven't like pushed so much, but I will, is just having capital, it has been difficult. However, a
baby?
scent that we have is called Sanctuary. Um,
Okay.
so that candle is already out right now. It was an artist collab with myself and Unparalleled Art with Shannon Skates. So the scent is called Sanctuary. I'll probably be releasing another complete scent line, which is called Kismet, which will fall under our Black Men's Joy. So it was just primarily just a line just particularly for men, not just black men, but men
For
only.
men, yeah.
Mhm.
That's dope. That's really dope. And I felt you on that capital thing, like, because I got my small little candle line, and I'm like, man, it's one day. I'm like, because when it pop,
Oh yeah, I mean, and honestly, I had a call today, and I had a friend, and he was like, "Well, are you taking any silent investors?" But I was just like, "Nah, not really." He was like, "Well, you should probably think about that. Send me this," and so that's something that I have to sit down and do. So the scent is called Kismet. It's already curated. It
okay,
is, I would say, it's non-gender conforming. So but it's really gonna fall under our Black Men Joy line. So those were like the things that I have kind of coming up.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, I definitely want more info on Thailand because I just
Yeah.
was sitting here thinking about it, and my cousin posted a video today, and she's in Thailand, and I was like, I should go. And my cousin just goes everywhere by herself, and I'm just gonna start
Yeah.
doing that. And
I need
so,
to I'll probably release like the itinerary and the dates. This is June, so probably July. I'll be going in November. I'm
okay.
just trying to find a location. It'll just be like a one day because it's my first time ever doing something like that abroad. So I'm excited about it. I just, I was like, well, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it there. So it's perfect. So I'm excited. And then I think that the Thailand trip will be completely focused on not just only like healing in real time, but just in terms of like reflection.
Mm,
In November. Yeah.
okay, definitely. Like, send me those days. Let me get my pocketbook together now.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for this space and this platform.
Thank
I'm
you.
really, really grateful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being able to, come on and, pour into all of us and give us the little free gems and, everything. And I hope that, someone listening or watching is able to really receive what we were talking about today. Um, this doesn't happen often. And I just wanted to really shine the spotlight on you and your
Mhm.
journey, and everything that you have going on, and however I can help. I'm always here, like
I'm
to
about to start tapping in.
people.
Y'all always saying this stuff to me. I'm tapping in.
I'll tap in. Listen, I'm like, so Krystyl, so hi, what's your schedule today? Because I'm thinking about going to happy hour. Don't tell me no, and don't you go by yourself because I'm around.
Listen, that only happy hour is gonna be us pouring some of these candles, okay?
Okay, look.
Yeah, so you enjoy the rest of your day.
Enjoy, and thank you so much again for coming, and we will see you all back here next week.
Bye.